Sometimes nature surprises us. When people hear forest or lion, they think of danger and fights. But the reality is different. In this video, you'll witness an unexpected bond in the wild that will make you see lions and wildlife completely differently. Let's begin the story. This story begins with a man named Rohan Singh, a postdoctoral researcher whose life revolved around studying animals. For years, he had spent long hours in the wild, quietly watching how animals moved, hunted, and lived. Rohan wanted to understand why they acted the way they did. Some moments were surprising, while others seemed ordinary, and sometimes he wondered if his work was too dull for anyone to notice. Still, he loved what he did, even when it tested his patience or left him tired. One day, deep in a quiet part of the wilderness, Rohan saw something that stopped him in his tracks. A scene unfolded before him so rare and unusual, Rohan was not alone. He was with a fellow researcher, and together they watched a scene that made them both freeze. A lion was slowly approaching a tiny leopard cub, and their hearts pounded in fear. The cub had no way to defend itself, and there was no sign of any leopard nearby. Lions and leopards are not friends. They compete for food, for territory, and for survival. Seeing a lion near a leopard cub usually meant danger. Rohan and his colleague could do nothing. To interfere, they would have needed a hunting license, and without one, all they could do was hope that nothing went wrong. Every step the lion took made the researchers hold their breath. Then, without warning, the lion lifted her head and let out a low, quiet roar. The sound was strange, soft, almost gentle, but it made the little cub stir. Slowly, cautiously, the baby leopard began to move toward the tall grass where the lion hid. The researchers exchanged worried glances, feeling that something about this scene was unusual. Yet, the lion did not attack. Instead, she rose to her feet and stepped toward the cub with careful, deliberate movements, as if she didn't want to scare him. Those watching were stunned. This lioness had recently given birth to 2 cubs of her own. She was known as a nurturing mother, and seeing her approach the leopard cub so gently made everyone pause. It was as if a switch had been flipped inside her instincts. When she reached the cub, she nuzzled him gently. The baby leopard froze for a moment, then relaxed, sensing the unexpected warmth and safety from the lioness. From that instant, the lioness treated him like one of her own cubs. She brought him food, kept him close, and played with him alongside her own little ones. The lioness's cubs accepted him too, and soon all of them were inseparable. They climbed trees together, tumbled in the sand, and chased one another in playful bursts. In one unforgettable moment, the little leopard even jumped onto one of his new siblings' heads, startling both of them, but sending them into joyous play. For a whole month, this unusual family thrived. Every day brought new adventures, laughter, and bonding. But nature has its own rules, and life can be fragile. One day, the researchers found the little leopard's body near a watering hole. A necropsy showed he likely died from a condition he was born with. Though his life was short, he had experienced something rare: love, warmth, and the protection of a family that truly embraced him. Rohan often reflected on that moment in the wild. It had taught him something surprising. Animals do more than follow instinct. They can feel care, love, and kindness. The sight of the lion and the little leopard stayed in his mind, showing him why he loved studying wildlife. But the story of unusual bonds in nature did not end there. Far away, in Kibale National Park in Uganda, a wildlife photographer named Daniel Foster was about to see something just as amazing, maybe even more surprising than what Rohan had seen. But his main focus was lions. He had photographed them hunting, roaming their territory and interacting with their pride. People often praised him for his work, yet Daniel longed to capture something truly different, something that could touch the heart and leave a lasting impression. He had promised himself that he wouldn't stop until he witnessed a moment that no one had seen before. One day, a park ranger called him with exciting news. A pair of lions had taken down an antelope. Daniel grabbed his camera and rushed to the scene, expecting a typical hunting moment. When he arrived, one lioness rested in the shade of a tree while the other wandered nearby. At first, Daniel thought it was just another ordinary scene, but something inside him told him to stay. This day might hold more than a normal wildlife encounter. Minutes later, a tiny antelope emerged from a patch of bushes. It had likely been hiding when its mother was killed by the lions. The little calf stepped out cautiously, scanning the area. Daniel froze, watching in disbelief. The lion under the tree noticed the calf, too. For a moment, it seemed like the baby's life was in danger. Then, something extraordinary happened. The lion did not attack. She stayed perfectly still, silent and calm. For 15 minutes, the lion simply watched the baby antelope. The calf, sensing no danger, slowly walked right between her legs, nuzzling close, as if looking for comfort. Daniel could hardly believe his eyes. Tears filled his eyes as he realized he was witnessing a miracle in the wild. Then the lion returned the gesture. She gently touched the baby antelope with her paw, a soft, careful acknowledgement of the little one's trust. Daniel watched, holding his camera but barely blinking, knowing he was capturing something far more than a picture. This was a story of connection, a silent understanding between two very different creatures. For a few minutes, the world seemed to disappear. The lion and the calf stayed close, calm and quiet. The antelope nuzzled her softly, and she did not move. Then, the sound of a park ranger's motorcycle echoed in the distance. The noise startled both animals. Daniel knew it was time to step back. The park rangers moved toward the calf, intending to take it with them. But the lioness surprised everyone. She carefully picked up the little antelope by the neck, just as she would carry one of her own cubs, and quietly walked away. Tourists later reported seeing the pair together, moving as if they were a family. Daniel realized he had witnessed something rare, a bond that ignored the usual rules of predator and prey. Stories like these remind us that the wild is full of surprises. Lions, feared for their strength and hunting skill, can also show care, empathy, and patience. For Daniel, that day became a memory he would treasure forever, proof that even in a world filled with danger and survival, tenderness, trust, and connection can exist. These moments leave a simple truth. Animals are capable of emotions that can surprise us, teach us, and touch our hearts, even in the heart of the wilderness.